G'day, happy Sapien Sunday, everybody. Sapien Sunday, not Fursuit Friday. The recording on a Fursuit Friday. Nice, beautiful outside. Look how beautiful it is outside. This is a wall. This is a window. Anyways, let's get right to it because this is going to be a long one. We're going to be talking about bathrooms this week. We're talking about the world in review. And recently we have a problem here. We have restrooms that cause unrest. And that's the title of the video. The Unrestful Restrooms. I'll come up with some snazzy title. So, what we're going to be talking about is, recently we're talking about like all of these bathroom issues. There's a lot of contention going on bathrooms, and particularly in the United States, we're like, we want bathrooms this way, we want these people to go into this bathroom, and it's causing a lot of problems. So, first off, there's a lot of problems with our current bathroom and the current way it's set up. I had a lot of time to think about this. Interestingly, the topic came up randomly on Flera during like our year in review, not Rooview, and like for some reason it went off on this weird tangent about bathrooms, and that was like 2 years ago, and it's like, so I had a lot of time to think about it, all right? And now that it's come up as kind of this whole contentious topic, may as well just give it a go, right? So we're going to talk about six, 5, and a 1 points on why bathrooms are so terrible. Now, one, you probably already know. A lot of people in the furry fandom know this. A lot of people in the mainstream know this. It's been in the news all over the place. We'll get to that one. We'll probably cover that one last. But there's 5 other problems that we need to go over as well. There's a lot of problems with these bathrooms, guys. All right. Number 1, it frustrates families. Why does it frustrate families? Well, let's just say, let's say I'm a father and I have a 4-year-old daughter, and, mother's not around. Maybe I'm a single father, have a 4-year-old daughter, Then it's like, we go out to a public place and she's like, Daddy, I gotta use the bathroom. And you're like, well, okay. So then it's the conundrum. Do I go into the men's room and bring her with me? Or do I go into the ladies', do I let her go into the women's room and teach her that she has to go into the women's room, but then trust that she'll be okay by herself? Or vice versa. If you're a mother and you have like a boy with her, like, Mom, I don't want to go into the girls' room. That's for girls. Girls have cooties. Cooties. You don't want to go in the cootie room. What is wrong with you, Mom? What is wrong with you? And this is a problem, okay? And so it's like, my daddy, I want to go into the bathroom. Hold on, your mom's coming. She'll follow you into the bathroom. I gotta go right now, Daddy! It's frustrating. It's frustrating to families, especially it's like in this weird social context. Now, interestingly, it's kind of like this is one of those exceptions, though, that society's kind of went, okay, here are the unwritten rules about what you do. If the child is younger than 5, then they go into the parents' room with the parent. If they're in kindergarten, and at that point they're okay to go into the bathroom by themselves. It's kind of like these weird rules and stipulations. Obviously, a 1-year-old is going to go into the room where the parent's going because it's a baby. Baby ain't going to do nothing. So that's one problem, but it's kind of a minor problem. We kind of overlook it. The second problem, number two, is the diversity dilemma. What is the diversity dilemma? Well, let's say that you go to a bathroom in a place that is like an auto shop or the YMCA, or you're going to have some bias here. The gender makeup is not going to be 50-50. We treat, and our laws are created so that we treat bathrooms as if, hey, there's going to be an equal amount of men, there's going to be an equal amount of women over here. So we need to make sure that the facilities are separate but equal. There's a problem, though. There's what happens when you're at a tech conference and then some guy from the press starts taking pictures and going, ah, look at all that. All these men are lining up for the same bathroom. Oh man, there's too many men in the tech industry. There's not enough women. And this little picture I took is proof. Look at this. The men are lined up and the women's room is free to be open. It's open. It's completely open to anybody. Oh, what's that? You're not a woman. Well, that's too bad. So here's the thing. We have bathrooms out there that are separated by gender, and if men happen to go to that place more than women, or vice versa, if women go to that place more than men, you're going to have facilities that don't get as much usage. You're going to have starving toilets. How can we have starving toilets? I mean, just look at those poor things. They've barely been used. They just want you to whiz. But they can't, but you can't because you can't go to them because you're not the right gender. Even though you're in a line about a mile long over there, and those things are an oasis in a desert, you cannot relieve yourself there. So the diversity dilemma is that we have facilities that don't get used because they're restricted. And if they weren't restricted, and if we could make sure that all the facilities can be used by everyone that are put down, then we wouldn't have this issue where some things get overused and some things get underused, and we avoid longer lines because of it. The third problem, conniving criminals. Interestingly, the debate has gone as how unsafe bathrooms are, or how unsafe these people behaving this way is making bathrooms. And that's assuming that bathrooms were safe to begin with. There are many, many studies to show that if something bad's going down in your high school, it's going down in the bathroom. All right? So, bullying, vandalism. Next, when I was in high school, and this was like, I'm aging myself here, 20 years ago. No, not that far. That would be middle school. You're not that old, dude. All right, so about 10 years ago. Okay, we'll say 10. 10. No, that's too few. 10. It's in the middle. All right, 15. Yay! I got it right eventually. All right, so about 15 years ago. So they were putting cameras up outside the bathrooms because they wanted to make sure that, because the whole Columbine thing happened, and they were like, we got to make sure we have like these seedy places all camera-fied and visible. And guess what? Still things happen in the bathroom. It's like you can't know who to blame on things. So separating out these private areas encourages things like drug dealing, things like vandalism, other things like that, because we separate them out in such a way. And that's a problem with the architecture. Once again, all of these problems so far is a problem with architecture, correct? All right. So number four, paralyzing paruresis. Paruresis? What's paruresis? It's colloquially known as shy bladder syndrome. Oh no, shy bladder syndrome. So, or if more infamously, that DirecTV commercial that got a lot of flack going, I'm this guy and I have cable, and I have a shy bladder. It's like, and people with shy bladder syndrome got all up in arms because he's like, I can't pee in public. That's basically what shy bladder syndrome is: an individual who has discomfort relieving themselves in a public facility. Now, paruresis occurs more often in men, and there's a reason for that. It's called the urinal. Oh, that magical, magical trough, the urinal. Man, it's like, it's out there, it's like, it's the most variable existence of a bathroom architecture. It could have walls. It could not have walls. It could be right next to the other ones. It could be low. It could be high. It can be whatever it wants to be. But what it isn't usually is private. So guys who have problems peeing in public with people standing next to them shoulder to shoulder going, hey man, how's it going? I'm trying to pee here. dude, just do your business. He moved. He moved. Now, oh, there's two of them. All right, so that's the thing too. So you got to make sure that there's this whole issue with paruresis, and to me, it's because of the way we design our bathroom architecture. Once again, it's mostly because of those mostly exposed areas, and mostly in the men's room. We don't have stalls around our urinals. And interestingly, not having stalls around the urinals is really the only thing that prevents an update to our architecture. It's the only thing that keeps things from going in a new direction, which I will explain later. All right, so we're still going over the problems. I'm not coming up with solutions yet. Those are yet to come. Number 5, the social shift on sexuality, particularly the understanding of sexuality. Back when we made these things, which was when women were starting to enter the workplace, is when we started coming up with the gender-segregated bathrooms. Men were like, yeah, we should probably let women have their own room because can't trust us men. Not all men, but some of us men, bit shady, bit scummy. So we decided, okay, we will separate these things out. And here we are today with this design that we've always accepted as factual fact. It's always existed. It's always been here since the dawn of time, which the dawn of time is the 1920s. Hey, from our perspective, 1920s is the dawn of time, even though historically it's just like a 2-generation gap. And right now, it only took 2 generations for us to start questioning this thing. To go, why do we separate the genders from the bathrooms? Why do we separate it by sex? It's weird. But that's because social and society people believe that it's like the only people who could have, the only people, all right? The only people who could be interested or attracted to another one was hetero. You had one man, one woman, and you don't want to get those two together in a private setting. No. They're going to start doing all these bad things, and they'll summon the storks. The storks will come flying in. So you don't want to have them in the same room. Now, interestingly, what we learn is that, yes, sure, only men and women can create the storks and have them fly in. But they're not the only ones who will attempt to call out the storks, if you know what I'm saying. So as we started to understand this, we've had some interesting conundrums come up. What do you do if you're the straight man in the gay bar and you have to go to the bathroom? What do you do? Well, you can just not make a big deal out of it and just do it and be secure in your masculinity because you're at a gay bar in the first place. Why not? But then there's that weird conundrum like, so if women are allowed to go, hey, I'm not sharing a bathroom with a person who might find me sexually attractive, why is it that we as men have to share bathrooms with some people who might find us sexually attractive as well? Is that fair? Same thing with the other way, I guess. It's like women could find other women sexually attractive just as well. So what the heck? The original design intent of these gender-separated bathrooms is destroyed by society's changing understanding of sexuality. Now, of course, we're going to get into a contentious thing here where it's like, well, then maybe those people who believe that this thing that maybe they should just grow up and accept that they should be sharing bathrooms with one another. It's like, well, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, it's like, it is a tricky subject to get on without getting into controversy, because sexual identity is very important to many people. And there's a lot of people who are trying to go, well, those sexual identities shouldn't exist in the first place. So basically what they're doing is they're taking the bathroom problem and they're making it an end-user problem. This is what I call the end-user problem. This will come up in our last 6th topic coming up, which I think everyone knows what that one is. But they say, oh, the problem is with the end user. If we can change the behaviors and understandings and the worldview of the end user, then the architecture will be fine and kumbaya, sing things while birds will be singing, and the world will be a perfect place because those end users no longer exist. But as someone who works with computers, I can tell you, you cannot change the human being. You cannot change the human being. You must change the architecture. You must change the program around the ideas and understandings of the individuals. That is what is great in creation. And then we'll go over that later. But in this case, society's understanding of sex and sexuality should not change. People should be able to identify as gay. People should be able to identify as straight. Straight people should be able to feel uncomfortable if they are with strangers who they do not know whether or not they might be sexually exploitive of them. Same as women should be able to feel that discomfort around strangers, strange men in dark corners. People need to feel the ability to be defensive about things and certain things. And what we should do is recreate the world around that discomfort and try to relieve it in some way, shape, or form. We'll go over that later. Last, but certainly and absolutely not least, is number 6. What happens when you have the problem of gender and identity fall into question in and of itself? It's like, well, I was born in the body of a woman, but I believe but I am a man, or vice versa. The 6th point is the terror of the terror of trans. Ooh, boogie, boogie, boogie. It's like people. It's hard for people to understand, and it's a complicated thing because especially for people who are cisgendered red roos, it can be a very difficult thing to understand. So let me red roo-splain it to you. No, I'm just kidding. But basically, every time they walk up to the bathroom, the gender-separated bathrooms, it becomes a question. It becomes a very philosophical, political question to them. It's like, I identify as a woman, but I was born in the body of a man, and I'm still very visibly a man to others in the community. So, do I go into the room and go against my own identity and go at the whims of the society around me to try to comfort them? But then, if I go into that room, people will say, well, you can't really be a man. You must be a woman because you went into the woman's room. You can't really identify as that. See, there's proof. So it's like they can't win. They either go into the room that they individually, they themselves as an individual identify with because they do, and that's who they are, and they go into that room, and then society gets all crazy about it. Or they go into that room and then they get called out for not following their individual strengths. Complicated? Let me simplify it for you. Let's imagine that we separated the bathrooms by something else. Let us imagine we separated bathrooms by political affiliation. Okay, Republicans go in that bathroom and Democrats go in that bathroom. If you are a Democrat and you identify as a Democrat, you must go into that bathroom. If you identify as a Republican, you must go into that bathroom. What happens here? Every time you go into one of these bathrooms, you have to ask yourself what political affiliation you are. Now, some people are born into certain political affiliations and never, ever, ever leave. Some people are more fluid. Some people don't identify as either. Where do independents go, man? In their dependence? What is up with this? And people who don't identify as either gender or gender fluid or anything like that also get this little headache in their brain every time. It's like, I have to choose one or the other? I don't identify as either, or I don't identify the one that I'm seen as physically. It'd be like, well, you're wearing a Republican pin, but you're going in the Democrat bathroom. What is wrong with you? Or you live in and then it's like you live in, and then it's kind of like that whole revealing thing where it's like you go to the bathroom and it's like, and you go into the Democrat bathroom in a Republican community, and they're like, you're one of them, eh? You should go to the Republican bathroom, man. I don't know why I put on that accent. That's stereotyping, and stereotyping is wrong. It's wrong. But anyways, you get my point. It should not be a political and ideological struggle every time you have to take a whiz, man. It shouldn't be. And that is the epitome of unrest. When you got to use the restroom, man, you just want to take a leak. You shouldn't have to leak out parts of your personality or identity or anything like that. So this is a problem. This is a big problem, and it needs to be resolved. So now the big problem, I think, in today's world is that we say, oh, there's all these problems all over the place, all right? There's all these problems, but we don't go, oh, well, maybe we have solutions. Maybe we should come up with a solution. Maybe we should do something about it. Maybe we should think about a way to do it. I have done this because I've had a lot of time to think about this, even before it made headlines, all right? So up here is a video in this clicky box. Clicky box there. Clicky box there. Somewhere in the vicinity, click on the clicky box. And I will show you, using my very, very professional architectural software, and not at all a video game for little kids to create Lego boxes or whatever. It is not that. It is professional architectural software. We will go over the current bathroom design and how we change that bathroom design very simply by just changing a few parameters and understanding how to create a new bathroom kind style which resolves all 6 of those issues I spent all this time rambling about. So, I will meet you over on that video, over there. Left, right. This is left. This is right. Right? Right. Don't mind me, I get disoriented sometimes. I don't know my left from my right. And that's why I can't use the bathrooms. They're separated that by political things, man, okay? Alright, so don't do it. Alright, you done watching? You better, it'll pause the video, okay? It'll pause the video when you click on it. The video is going to end with me going like this. And then you're going to come back and you're going to hit play and we're going to go, hey, you watched that video. Cool, man. Cool. Alright, so as you can see, if you think about bathrooms in that way, where you have the public space, you have the gender private space, and you have the private individual space, what you need to do is just take that middle ground and eliminate it. And as soon as you do that, you can open it up. You could have everyone using every stall. You could have security, because people are not going to be using those such things to go into a gender private area and do dealings with people of the same gender. Do little criminal activities and go, hey man, let's go to the men's room and powder our noses. That's not powder. That's not powder, man. What you talking about, powder in my nose? See, this nose is huge, man. You get major headaches if you do that kind of stuff. Man, no. Don't do powder, kids. But anyways, what I'm saying is we can resolve all 6 of these problems simply by trying to change the architecture in that manner. We also resolve a lot of political conflict, because you don't have to fix the conservatives or fix the transsexuals. You don't have to fix either end user. They don't have to contest this anymore, because it no longer matters what stall that individual is using. And that's what they want. That's what both people want. Whether it's the staunchest conservative or it's the most gender fluid individual, they both just want to be able to use the bathroom without any of this political nonsense. So we as people need to resolve the problem using ingenuity. I know, it's a strange thing, right? But anyways, thank you for taking the time this Sunday watching me in this first World in Rooview. And I hope that you got something out of this, and I hope that you share this with people all over the place who can probably speak English, because, or translate it if you want, I guess, if it's that important. But it is really important. I think you just send them to that second video instead of this rambling part, because this rambling part was just like all pomp and circumstance. The meat was that other video. So if you want to share that video, and just that video, it gets right down to it, Absolutely. Share it around. And I hope to see you next week. Same time-ish. Same station-ish. Well, same station. Stations don't longer exist. Anyways, thank you for watching. And I'm going to get the hop out of here. It is warm. It's getting warm. I've spent a half hour, 25 minutes. See you later. Peace.